Hey guys, me Seren back with another video, car video. It's cold. So a lot of you guys wanted me to make a video about the Oscars. I don't know, I'm probably not gonna say what you guys want to hear. I don't know, but let's just go ahead and get into it. There's I think like 4 things that I really definitely want to talk about. So before I get to the big shit that everybody knows we're going to talk about, like Moonlight and stuff like that, there's a couple things that I want to go over first. So number 1, I want to talk about Zootopia for a minute, which I know, like I said, you guys are probably going to be like, what, Zootopia? So Zootopia won for Best Animated Feature, right? I didn't see Zootopia in the theaters. I heard from some people that did see it in the theaters that this earache, that they felt like Zootopia had some kind of weird messages. And so I just never saw it, and I just wasn't that interested, because I felt like even from watching trailers, I remember we were talking about it one time on Twitter, and even just from watching trailers, I remember being like, I feel like I don't have any idea what this movie is about, and I feel like they're keeping it really deliberately vague, the plot of the movie. So then when some people that I knew saw the movie and said that they felt like they were like, oh, we don't want to ruin it or whatever, but that they felt like the messaging was weird, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm not gonna waste money to go see it. I'll just wait. So then it came on Netflix, and I think it's still on Netflix, and that's how I ended up seeing it, and I did not like the message of the movie at all. And so after they won for best picture, best animated picture or whatever last night, I saw somebody on Twitter that was like, I hated the message of Zootopia, and I was like, yo, me too. I felt like the message, and I said this on Twitter, I felt like the message of Zootopia was real reverse racism is a thing. It was very easy, surface level, kind of progressive liberal chatter, rhetoric, nice words that sound nice but don't really make sense. When people say, I don't care if you're black, white, blue, green, purple, orange, it's yeah, but people aren't actually blue or green or purple or orange, but people are actually black people do exist, and we do have to deal with certain things that other types of people don't have to deal with. So you saying that is something that sounds nice, I guess, but actually doesn't make any fucking sense. And I kind of felt like that was the message of Zootopia. It was very this labels are bad and reverse racism is a thing, and everyone should just be treated as equals, and why can't we just all be nice to each other, and who cares about historical context when historical context has an impact on the way that we live our lives today, which is kind of the whole point of this channel. Because the plot of the movie is you have, okay, so a lot of the details of the movie are very murky, because it's set, I guess, in the future, and it's supposedly way back in the day, animals used to be wild, savage beasts with no home training, and you had the predators and you had the prey or whatever, and it was just chaos, and the predators were just terrorizing the prey, and it was just not a good time to be an animal, I guess. And then at some point, animals evolved and domesticated themselves, I guess, and now all the animals live together in this city called fucking Zootopia, and they wear clothes, and they talk, and they walk upright, and they're anthropomorphic animals, and they have jobs and careers, but there's still certain stigmas attached to being predators, and there's also still certain stigmas attached to being prey. And the reason why I say that it really struck me as reverse racism is a thing is because there's a lot of equating it as if you know, either way is wrong. It felt very much like, oh, me calling you you calling me mayonnaise is exactly the same as like me calling you a nigger. That was kind of like the underlying like I type of ideas in the movie, you know, like, oh, you know, because like the main character is like this bunny that wants to be a police officer, and there was also a whole lot of like pro-cop, pro-police, Blue Lives Matter type shit happening in that fucking movie too. Like the bunny like wants to be a cop, and she's like obsessed with like justice and order and like people getting their like just desserts or whatever, and like nobody takes her seriously because she's prey, she's a bunny. And they say that like, oh, cops are predators because they're like big and they have sharp claws and teeth and this and that. And she's like, well, I don't care, I'm gonna like work really hard until I can like become a cop or whatever. And then she like becomes a cop, and then she meets this like fox who's like a predator, and she isn't like afraid of the fox initially. She keeps this like fox spray on her, and there's this like whole thing about like stereotypes and like how she stereotypes the fox as mean and as dangerous, but how people have also stereotyped her because she's a bunny, and how they said that, you know, she couldn't be a police officer because she's a bunny, and like stereotypes are bad and like labels are bad. And someone said on Twitter they felt like, you know, it was a classic case of like don't judge a book by its cover, and they felt like there was like a kind of like a good message because it was about like, oh, just because somebody like looks dangerous doesn't mean you have to be afraid of them. But I was like, what does that even mean, right? Like somebody looks dangerous, like what does that mean to like look dangerous? And somebody else said you know, like, oh, I thought I had a good message because it was like teaching children like that they shouldn't label, like, oh, it shouldn't be about labels and stereotypes. And I was like, you guys already know that I hate the idea of labels as an inherently bad thing. I talked about this in my Raven-Symone video. I hate that fucking liberals and progressives push this fucking idea that labels are bad. Don't label me. I don't fit into a label. I don't fit into a category. I'm a special snowflake individual. Don't stereotype me. Like, shut the fuck up. Especially like number one for children, labels are how children make sense of the world, and this is a fucking children's movie. Labels are how children make sense of the world, okay? Bird, ball, refrigerator, car, park, all these things are labels, and that is the way that on the most basic sense that we make sense of the shit around us. And there is nothing inherently wrong with a label. The issues come with fucking, you know, putting certain attributes on people because of these labels and things like that. But like labels in and of themselves are not inherently bad things. So I just like hate this fucking rhetoric around labeling as if it's something inherently bad. And I just really like felt some type of way, like again, like that the movie is like pushing this agenda of like we're all equal and we're all the same. It's like a whole thing about like labels and like stereotypes and like reverse. It was just like all about reverse racism to me. Like watching the movie, I just felt like reverse racism is a thing. We are all the same. Like calling somebody mayonnaise is like exactly the same as like slavery and Jim Crow, and like everyone should just pretend that we are all the same. And if we can just all pretend that we are all the same, then like everything will be fine. I felt like that was the message of the movie. And a lot of people were discussing like on Twitter, like, yeah, a lot of people had problems with the movie because it was like, because all these, like, it got all these awards and all these people were talking about how it had this like great liberal progressive message, but it was really like the standard message that we've been seeing of like, you know, Martin Luther King light, Disney, I have a dream, let's just all hold hands and like put our blinders on and like pretend that everybody is the same and forget that people are having different experiences, you know, based on race, based on gender, based on, you know, able-bodiedness, you know, based on all these things that are out of our control. And I just hate that because like as Kerry Washington said, like it's not about pretending that we are not different. I don't want to live in a world where everybody is the same and nobody is unique. You know, it's about embracing our differences and not using our differences as ways to fucking oppress one another. It's not about just pretending that we are all the same. And that was pretty much the message of Zootopia. So I wanted to address that. So that was number one. Number two, I wanted to talk about Casey Affleck. There were a couple things that I wanted to talk about in terms of Casey Affleck. Number one, so Casey Affleck beat Denzel Washington for Best Actor for Manchester by the Sea. And I'm just like, so, like, can we stop making these boring, dry-ass fucking movies about, like, white people in Boston? Like, we get it. Times are hard in Boston for the white working class. Like, the Fighter, which I actually enjoyed, and The Town, and like all these movies with Matt Damon or Mark Wahlberg or Ben Affleck or Casey Affleck, it's like the same movie is getting made over and over. And like this movie is a prime example of like Oscar bait, a movie about like, you know, like poor working class white people that are like going through hard times in a tough American city of Boston. And, you know, like, I'm tired of it. It's dry. It's boring. We get it. Like, it's enough is enough. Shut the fuck up already about that shit. And they gave him the Best Actor Oscar over Denzel Washington. I probably should have started this video off by saying that I did not watch the Oscars. I didn't watch the Oscars. I like watched them through social media. And then I watched the speeches and the highlights that I wanted to see today on the internet, because as you guys know, I am skipping award season. I'm not giving them a dime of my fucking, you know, advertiser money or, you know, viewer money or whatever. Like, no. So I didn't watch the Oscars, so please don't think I watched the Oscars, because I don't really, like, give a fuck. But I do just have, you know, some thoughts on kind of what went down at the show. Sorry, I should have said that first. But, so Casey Affleck won Best Actor over Denzel Washington in Fences. I found this interesting for two separate reasons. The first reason why I found it interesting is because Casey Affleck is a fucking rapist. Casey Affleck is a rapist. He has been hit with numerous charges of sexual harassment and all these allegations over the years. And a lot of people were making the point that they found it really interesting, you know, that Casey Affleck was in the room, but Nate Parker wasn't. Now, Nate Parker was also accused of rape. And it severely impacted his movie Birth of a Nation, which was originally considered to kind of be a huge Oscar contender. But that effectively wiped him out of the Oscar running. Like, his movie was not nominated. It wasn't mentioned. You know, people would not let these rape allegations go. But Casey Affleck, who's also been accused of rape, won the Best Actor Oscar. So I do not, me personally, I do not think that, because a lot of people try to, every time you start having these types of conversations, because the same thing happened when the whole Bill Cosby shit was going on. A lot of people try to say, like, oh, so you think that, like, Nate Parker or Bill Cosby, whatever, should have, like, been in the room or should have got off? No, but Casey Affleck should not have been in the room either if the conversation is going to be about how, you know, rape and sexual assault and sexual abuse and consent, you know, if we're having all these conversations and shit like that, Casey Affleck shouldn't have been in that room either, let alone be awarded with the Best Actor Oscar over Denzel Washington, who did an amazing job in Fences. Like, no, that just shouldn't have happened. Or again, like, even if Casey Affleck was going to be allowed to be in the room, then Nate Parker should have been allowed to be in the room. And again, I said the same thing when the Bill Cosby shit happened. I made a whole video about it, and I said in the video, I think Bill Cosby's a rapist. Like, I said straight up, like, I think Bill Cosby is a rapist. We're talking about ideas about rape and, like, consent, and I, like, clearly Bill Cosby was not getting consent. He was, like, drugging these women and, like, having sex with them. Like, that makes him a rapist. I was like, but I do think it's interesting to see the media so gleefully, you know, dragging Bill Cosby through the mud, but they love Woody Allen, who's also a fucking rapist. They love Lena Dunham. They let Lena Dunham fucking host an award show and make a fucking Bill Cosby sexual predator joke when she fucking wrote in her book about touching her little sister. Like, we're talking about the way that this shit is seen for white people versus the way that it's seen for black people. And for white people, it's just another instance of everything is acceptable. Everything is acceptable, you know? Like, it's fine. It's acceptable. You know, you have to really, really, really cross a line, like advocating pedophilia, which we were just talking about in my video about Milo. You have to really, really, really cross a line to you know, face repercussions for your actions. And rape and sexual abuse and sexual harassment is just not, of women, is just not considered. It's just not considered one of those things especially if you're white. Like, especially if you're a white man, you're gonna get away with it, and it's just gonna be seen as fine. If you're black, if you're a black man, you're gonna be seen as a super predator. You're gonna be seen as a hypersexual fucking beast, fucking savage, because that's the way that they fucking look at us. You're gonna be seen as a rapist. That like all those things, you're gonna like be dragged from, they're gonna put you under the jail. And not saying that rapists don't deserve to be placed under the jail, because they motherfucking do. But if you're white, you can get Best Actor award. Like, if you're white and you're a rapist, you can get a Best Actor Oscar over Denzel Washington. If you're black and you're a rapist, you get blackballed. Like, we just want a fair set of rules for everyone. Everyone should be fucking persecuted for being a rapist. You shouldn't be able to get away with that shit if you're white. It's not fair and it's racist. So I just wanted to say that, number one. Number two, after Casey Affleck, the rapist, won his Best Actor award, he fucking then went up there and pulled a motherfucking Adele. He accepted the award, and then he gave a whole tearful ass speech about how amazing Denzel Washington is. And Denzel Washington was sitting there like, you're a fucking rapist. If you don't get my name out of your mouth, you fucking rapist. Like, get my name out of your mouth right now. Like, he went up there and gave a whole speech about how he learned so much about the craft from Denzel and how Denzel is so amazing. And just like I said just now, like, this is something that we're seeing over and over again, is these white artists being rewarded for mediocre work, or for work that is at the very least not on the same level as these exceptional black artists, and they know it, they're aware of it, so they go up there and they say, I know I'm not as exceptional as this fucking black artist, but I'm gonna take this fucking award anyway. Yes, please give it to me. Please award me for my fucking white mediocrity. Thank you. And then I'm gonna take my award and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna thank this black person that I know is better than me and that I've learned so much from, and then I'm gonna go sit my ass back down like nothing happened. You know, and it's just like this, and this is like this is a pattern now, right? Like, this is a pattern. This is something that's been going on and on and on, and that's been going on for years. And it just so happens that there have been just two kind of like high profile instances of this happening, with Adele beating Beyonce, and then Casey Affleck, the rapist, beating Denzel Washington, and then both kind of like, you know, thanking these black art. You know, it's just more of this idea that, like, black people, number one, we have to be fucking exceptional to even be in a room with white mediocrity. And then, even then, that white mediocrity is still gonna get fucking rewarded, and that they can even admit that they know that it should have gone to the black artist, but they still gonna like take the award and walk away with it. Because again, now we're getting into fucking these ideas about, you know, awareness versus action, which I definitely want to fucking make. There's two videos that I know that I want to make, one on awareness versus action and one on intent versus impact, because these seem to be things that people are kind of getting confused and can't decide. You know, like, oh, you think that just because you're aware that you didn't deserve this award, you think that just because you're aware of the fact that you're fucking white and mediocre and you won this shit because of your white privilege, you think that just because of the fact that you're bringing awareness to the fact that you learned so much from this great, exceptional, you know, black fucking artist, Denzel Washington, one of, if not the best actor of our fucking time, you know, you think that just that awareness is enough. No. We passed that. We need to see some action, but I don't even expect any action from a fucking rapist. So, like, I don't even care. I mean, I really don't even care about this whole thing, but like, these are just, again, just thoughts that I had. So I wanted to address the Casey Affleck stuff, the Zootopia stuff. Wanted to say Viola Davis won for Best Supporting Actress. Emma Stone won Best Actress for La La Land, which doesn't surprise me, but I really don't understand how Viola Davis was nominated for Best Supporting Actress and not Best Actress. Like, I don't understand. It doesn't, her being placed in that category doesn't make very much sense to me, but whatever. But Viola Davis won. Mahershala Ali won, which I love because he's amazing and he was wonderful in Moonlight and he deserved it. And Moonlight won Best. I'm pulling in and there's a cat. Please move, cat. I don't want to hit you. And Moonlight won Best Picture. So, I want to start off by saying, I'm happy that Viola Davis won. I'm happy that Mahershala Ali won. I think I'm saying that wrong. I think it's Mahershala, and I keep saying Mahershala. I'm happy that Viola Davis won. I'm happy that Mahershala Ali won, and I'm happy that Moonlight won. However, I don't really feel anything about it. Like, it's cool that they won. I like that they won. I'm happy that they won because I'm sure they're happy that they, you know, received recognition for their work, for projects that I'm sure they worked hard on and were very, you know, near and dear to their heart, and that they wanted to get some recognition for. But just, I don't really feel like, I don't care. Like, I've already come to terms with the fact that the Oscars are racist, the Grammys are racist, the SAG Awards are racist, the BAFTAs are racist. You know, like we could just go down the list. They're racist. They're white supremacist institutions. Again, I understand, like, wanting to be recognized for your work by these institutions that do carry a certain amount of prestige when you're working in white mainstream Hollywood. Like, it's like a toss-up, right, of like wanting the recognition but also like understanding that these institutions are racist, and so just the odds are going to be stacked against you consistently. So you're not doing the work necessarily. It's kind of like you're not doing the work necessarily for the recognition. You're doing the work just for the power of the work and the expression of the work and the importance of the work and the importance of the narratives and stuff like that. But when you get the recognition, it's nice. That's just how I feel about that. Like, it's nice. I don't really think it means anything. It doesn't really mean anything to me. Maybe a few years ago it would have. But at this point, I just feel like, oh, that's nice. Like, that's nice. Like, I'm glad for, you know, like, I'm glad for them. I'm glad for them. And Moonlight winning Best Picture was like a whole thing because they had initially said that La La Land won. And so allegedly what happened was that Warren Beatty, who did the announcement, they're saying that he got the wrong envelope, that these two people stand on opposite ends of the stage and they hand out the envelopes to the presenters, and that he got handed the wrong envelope. And apparently there are two sets of envelopes, so he got an envelope. So they did the Best Actress announcement from one side, and Emma Stone like got her award or whatever, and then they did the Best Picture from the other side, and the person that was on the other side like allegedly handed the same Emma Stone Best Actress envelope to Warren Beatty instead of the Picture of the Year. So he said that when he opened it, he saw La La Land, and he just said that it was like La La Land, even though it was not for La La Land. I don't know if we don't know if we believe that. I also kind of just think that, you know how sometimes when you like already think, you like already feel like you think something, or like you know something, like he probably already felt like, you know how when you like look at something and you swear like, oh, I swear that said 3 oranges, but I just looked at it again and it said 5, but I swear it said 3, because you like already in your mind thought that it said 3, so you just kind of like made it up. I kind of felt like he probably already like in his heart thought that it was La La Land, so he was just like, oh, La La Land. Like, he just probably didn't even like, even if he did get like the wrong card or whatever, he probably just like didn't even second guess it. And it was like a full like 2 minutes before, like 3 people had like already given speeches, like 3 of the producers, I think, had like already given speeches like, yeah, La La Land, best movie, before they were like, actually, it was Moonlight. A lot of people are talking about how that like overshadowed Moonlight's moment, that they weren't able to like fully, you know, get the full appreciation of like having it announced and go up there and give their speeches and whatever, which I totally get. That was cruel and it was not fair and it was fucked up. But at the same time, I love that they went up there and they snatched those awards from those white people. I just love seeing white people getting their hopes and dreams fucking dashed and shat on. And they already stole a bunch of awards for that mediocre ass movie that's about, you know, white people taking back jazz and 2 random white people falling in love in LA, because that's just so amazing and wonderful and fucking groundbreaking. Like, you know, it was a self-congratulatory piece of fucking tripe that, of course, Hollywood patted itself on the fucking back for making. Like, fuck that fucking movie. And I'm glad that they got their hopes and dreams dashed, and I hope they went home and fucking cried about it. Like, and they didn't even want to get off the stage. They didn't even want to get off the stage. Emma Stone, who I fucking have decided I don't like her. I've decided I don't fuck with her. Stood on that stage for a minute, like a full, like I watched. She stood on that stage for a full 1:08 seconds after they said that it was Moonlight, with this confused look on her face, like she just couldn't believe it. Like, bitch, get your white ass off the stage. You already got your 1 stolen Best Actress award. Get your white ass off the stage. Get your white ass off the stage. all you white people, get the fuck off the stage. Like, that was how I felt. Like, that was how I felt watching it. So I just loved seeing them go up there and like literally take the award out of these white people's hands. Like, actually, that's ours. Like, I enjoyed that. That did something for my spirit. It would have been nice for them to get their full moment, but I did like, I don't know, like, I do think it was an accident. People are saying they think it was a conspiracy and this and that. I do think it was an accident, but I kind of think that was like some karmic retribution, you know, of like, y'all thought y'all had it, but actually this fucking little black movie that could got it. So, haha. So, you know, I was happy that Moonlight won. Again, I was happy that Viola won. I was happy that Mahershala Ali won. Denzel was robbed. He should have won. I don't think Hidden Figures won anything, which sucks because I loved Hidden Figures. Suicide Squad won. Suicide Squad won for Best Hair and Makeup, which is gonna be no talking to me because my fucking movie won, bitch. So I woke up this morning like, Academy Award winning Suicide Squad. So Suicide Squad won. That made me happy. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the Oscars just don't mean anything. They just don't mean anything. They really just don't mean anything to me. And like, getting back to the idea of like, you already kind of have your mind made up about like a movie that's already like won, and then your mind kind of like manifests that, like, you are sure that it's La La Land. A lot of people were pointing out that like Viola Davis won for Fences, and she was nominated before for Doubt, and she was nominated before for The Help. She has only been nominated for period pieces. There was a lot of conversation going around about how like contemporary pieces like Moonlight are so rarely rewarded by Hollywood because they kind of fall outside of the narrative, which I've talked about on this channel before. You know, this idea of narratives and this idea, you know, of black people and our stories fitting into this like really small, you know, narrow box in terms of narratives. And a lot of the times that revolves around these period pieces that involves us being slaves, which I know you guys hate slave narratives, or dealing with racism, or, you know, just like race movies, slavery movies, civil rights era movies, Jim Crow movies, you know, period pieces. Very rarely are contemporary movies about modern black life rewarded, because that's just not seen as art. That is just not seen as an important narrative. That is just not seen by white mainstream Hollywood as something that deserves to be rewarded. So, and I still feel that way, even though Moonlight won Best Picture. I don't think that's gonna change. And someone hit me up on Twitter and said, like, you know, this is also part of why it's important to just like not measure up yourself by these you know, white mainstream standards, and to instead, again, do your work for yourself, or for some type of metric for yourself, or for some type of award system that you receive from your black peers. You know, that type of stuff to me right now is more important than these white mainstream awards, because these white mainstream award shows are racist. And they do not recognize narratives that fall outside of the norm and the standard. And even though, again, Moonlight won, like, they still, like, whatever this, like, mishap was, like, giving it to La La Land. And Moonlight also won for Best Adapted Screenplay, which was awesome. And so Best Adapted Screenplay, and Mahershala Ali won, and it won like Best Movie of the Year. But like, it won Best Movie of the Year, but like La La Land won Best Director of the Year and like Best Actress. You know, like it was still like they wanted to give it to La La Land. They probably wanted to give all the awards to La La Land, but after Oscar So White 2 years in a row, they just knew that they like couldn't do it. So it even still like I love that these movies won and stuff, but again, like, it doesn't really mean anything to me. That's just how I feel about it. So those are my thoughts on the Oscars. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's long, it's getting dark. See you guys. It's so many videos are going up today, Monday, and I will see you guys tomorrow for our last day of Hidden Figures. So yeah, that's what I thought. I know a lot of you guys watched it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What did y'all think of Zootopia? What did y'all think of Zootopia? I really want to know. And remain pressed, cause Suicide Squad is an Academy Award winning movie, and I am out. Peace.